Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're looking at this really fascinating collection of ancient stories. Zen practitioners often call them koans. They're like these short, sometimes paradoxical riddles or tales, kind of designed to make you think, to provoke insight. And we're going to try and pull out some, timeless wisdom from them that feels surprisingly relevant for today.
Yeah, our main source here is 101 Zen Stories. It's a compilation of these koans from the Audio Buddha YouTube channel. And full disclosure, we've also got our own briefing doc and study guide we put together that really helped us distill things down, find those aha moments.
Absolutely. What we're really doing here is taking a journey as a sort of dive into Zen philosophy and practice. We'll be focusing on things like direct experience, detachment, and this idea of pursuing enlightenment in a way that maybe goes beyond our usual understanding. These aren't just like quaint little stories. They're meant to be pathways, sometimes pretty challenging ones, to genuinely shifting how you see things. Okay, right. Let's unpack this then. We're going to explore how these old teachings can really challenge our assumptions and maybe offer some surprising insights into living a more aware, maybe more fulfilled life. It's about getting to the heart of it, yeah. Pushing past the surface level. Core Zen principles and practices. Pathways to inner realization. So let's start with this foundational idea in Zen. It's not really about book smarts, is it? It's not about how much you can talk about philosophy or quote texts. It's more about truly seeing, experiencing things directly. There's that famous story, Nanin and the university professor, you know the one.
Oh, yeah, the teacup story.
Yeah.
Classic.
So this professor, he comes to Nanin, wants to learn about Zen, but he's already full of his own opinions, Nanin starts pouring tea, fills the professor's cup, and then just keeps pouring. Tea overflows, spills everywhere, and the professor's like, stop, it's full, no more will go in.
And Nana just looks at him,
Right.
calmly.
Exactly. And says something like this cup, you are full of your own opinions and speculations. How can I show you Zen unless you first empty your cup?
Such a powerful image, isn't it? That need to sort of unlearn, to let go of what you think you know, just to make space. And what's compelling there is thinking about how often we do that in our modern lives, chasing knowledge. Do we fill our own cups so much there's just no room with our frameworks, our biases, maybe even pride in what we know? It can actually blind us, to new truths, new ways of seeing.
It really makes you wonder, yeah, how do we approach learning something new or a challenge? Are we genuinely open, ready to be surprised? Or are we just trying to fit everything into the boxes we already have? And this links to that idea of enlightenment too, right? That it's not some external thing you go find. It's inherent, this Buddha nature, they call it. Potential within everyone, just waiting.
Exactly. It's already there.
Like in the story of Onami the wrestler, this guy, apparently incredibly strong, could beat anyone in private practice, but in public, so bashful his own students could apparently throw him, just couldn't perform. So he goes to this master, Hakuju, for help. And Hakuju tells him, your name is Onami, great waves. So tonight, meditate on that. Imagine you're those huge waves sweeping everything away. You're not some afraid wrestler anymore. You're the waves.
He's changing the internal model.
Right. Onami meditates all night. The story says by morning, the whole temple seemed like this vast ocean, and he was just smiling. He goes to the wrestling matches that day, completely undefeated.
And what's so striking about that Onami's transformation is it shows the power of just shifting your internal state, right? He didn't get physically stronger overnight. He changed his mental picture of himself, went from being this fearful guy to embodying this unhindered force of nature. It teaches us that fear, or really any limiting belief, it's often not some external thing blocking us. It's an internal construct.
Yeah.
The insight is realizing our perception, how we see ourselves and our challenges, profoundly shapes what we can actually do.
From embodying that unhindered state, Zen then pushes us towards something really tough, I think. Detachment, non-attachment. Sounds simple maybe, but it goes against how we're wired, doesn't it? To hold on to things, people, ideas.
Oh, absolutely. It's counterintuitive for most of us.
Take that story of Ryokan and the thief. Just incredible. Ryokan, this Zen master, lives super simply. Little hut. A thief breaks in one night, finds literally nothing worth stealing. Ryokan comes back, finds the guy. Instead of being angry or scared, he basically says, oh, you came all this way to see me. You shouldn't leave empty-handed here. Take my clothes as a gift.
Wow. Just gives him his clothes.
Yeah. The thief is totally bewildered, takes the clothes, leaves. And Ryokan sits there, naked, watching the moon and just thinks, poor fellow, I wish I could have given him this beautiful moon.
That's That's radical compassion, isn't it? And radical non-attachment. It's not just letting go of stuff, the clothes, it's letting go of the idea of ownership. Even the expected reaction, like anger or feeling violated. Ryokan prioritizes the thief's experience, his potential need, over his own comfort or sense of justice. It really challenges our whole ingrained sense of mind, suggesting real freedom might come from holding on to nothing so tightly.
And this detachment, it can even extend to something as personal as your reputation, your good name. Think about Hakuin, another Zen master apparently really respected by his neighbors for living this pure life. Then, a local girl gets pregnant, and under pressure, maybe fear, she names Hakuin as the father, which is false. Her parents are furious, they confront him, and his only response is this calm, simple, "Is that so?"
Doesn't offend himself. Nothing.
Nope, just, "Is that so?" And then he quietly takes the baby when it's born and cares for it. His reputation is ruined, but he doesn't seem bothered. A year later, the girl confesses the truth. The real father was someone else entirely. The parents rush back to Hakuin, full of apologies, want the child back. And Hakuin, just as calmly, hands over the child and says,
Let me guess. Is that so?
"Exactly, is that so?"
Wow. That shows just this unwavering non-attachment to what other people think. Praise, blame, it doesn't matter. He didn't need to fight for his reputation. He just accepted what was happening. The deep implication there is that our self-worth, our inner peace, it shouldn't depend on the shifting opinions of others. That's a powerful lesson, especially today, right? In an age so obsessed with public image and validation, finding stability inside, regardless of the outside noise. 2, challenging conventional wisdom and societal norms.
So Zen often seems to ask us to look past what society just hands us as right or normal. It challenges those conventions, and it's not about playing by the rules just because they exist.
Yeah, definitely. Like Bankai, for instance. He really rejected the idea that spiritual power had to involve, like, supernatural stuff. There's a story where a priest from another sect, Shinshu, was bragging. Said his founder could perform miracles, like writing holy names in the air that could be seen across a river. Bankai just dismissed it, called it a fox trick, basically a clever illusion. And then he declared his miracle was, when I feel hungry, I eat, and when I feel thirsty, I drink.
Huh. Love that. Simple, direct.
Exactly. It really highlights valuing direct, mindful living over putting on a show or seeking validation through things that aren't, grounded in direct experience. It's like a call to find the miracle in just being present in ordinary life, rather than chasing the extraordinary somewhere else.
So what does all this mean for us, maybe? It seems like Zen isn't about escaping life's messiness, its difficulties. It's more about finding truth right there within it, being fully present even when things are tough or imperfect.
That's perfectly shown in that parable of the strawberry. It's a vivid one. You picture this. A person's traveling, suddenly chased by a tiger, runs to a cliff edge, grabs onto a wild vine, swings down, but uh-oh.
Yeah.
Above, the first tiger is sniffing at the edge. Below, another tiger waiting. And to make things worse, 2 mice, one white, one black, representing day and night, start gnawing at the vine he's clinging to.
So imminent danger from all sides. The vine's gonna break eventually.
Right, it looks hopeless. But then, right there near him on the vine, he sees a single, luscious strawberry. He holds the vine with one hand, plucks the strawberry with the other, and eats it. And the story just ends. How sweet it tasted.
Finding that moment of sweetness, even then.
Exactly. It emphasizes finding joy, beauty, simple presence right in the immediate moment, even when surrounded by danger and the absolute certainty of impermanence, the mice gnawing. It profoundly shifts perspective on what it means to be okay or happy. It suggests that even a fleeting moment of pure presence in beauty can somehow outweigh, or at least exist alongside, overwhelming adversity.
Yeah.
3, the role of the teacher and the nature of learning.
And the teachers in these stories, the Zen masters, they weren't exactly conventional instructors, were they? Not by a long shot. They often push boundaries, sometimes in really surprising, maybe even shocking ways, just to get their students to have that aha moment, to truly see.
Yeah, their methods were very individualized, often provocative, designed for that specific student, that specific moment. Take Sengai and the student who kept sneaking out at night, the night wanderer. Sengai figures out the student uses a little stool to climb over the temple wall. So one night, Sengai waits. He removes the stool and stands there himself, in the dark, in its place. Yeah, the student comes back, ready to hop down, puts his foot right where the stool should be, and steps unknowingly onto his master's head, jumps down, realizes in horror what he's done.
I can only imagine, mortified.
Totally. But Sengai's reaction? No yelling, no punishment, just this gentle rebuke. It is very chilly in the early morning. Do be careful not to catch cold yourself. And that gentle, profound moment, completely changed the student. No harsh words needed. It teaches that the deepest lessons, sometimes they aren't delivered through lectures or discipline. They come through direct, empathetic, maybe even disarming experiences.
And sometimes the lessons were completely beyond words, weren't they? Communicated through just a subtle action, no explanation given or needed. Like Makugan choosing his successor. This is a great one. He's ill, maybe near death, and he asks his disciples who've been with him years to show their real interpretation of Zen. Everyone's just watching his face, totally silent, probably nervous.
Yeah, the pressure must have been immense.
Then one disciple, Inko, just subtly pushes a little medicine cup on the bedside table a few inches forward. That's it. Makugan's face gets even more severe. He asks, "Is that all you understand?" Kind of a challenge. So Inko just reaches out and moves the cup back to where it was.
The push and pull, offering, withdrawing.
Exactly. And suddenly a beautiful smile breaks over Makugan's face, and he says, "You rascal, you have worked with me 10 years and have not yet seen my whole body. Take the robe and bowl, they belong to you." He got it.
What's really fascinating there is the master recognizing this profound understanding that completely bypassed words. Injo's tiny actions show this intuitive grasp of the moment, of maybe giving and taking, knowing when to act and when to retract. It totally challenges our usual assumption that deep learning or mastery always needs explicit explanation or some formal demonstration. It suggests true insight can show up in the quietest, most subtle ways. And sometimes the most profound communication happens without a single word being spoken. Forfeit. Living Zen, integration into daily life.
And this brings us to the idea that Zen isn't just for special occasions, not just for temples or retreats. It's about how you live every single moment, right? Integrating these principles into just daily existence, bringing awareness to the totally mundane stuff.
Exactly. It's about practice in life, not separate from life. Sonia Shikun, who was one of the very first Zen teachers to come to America, apparently lived by these really specific daily rules, things like receive a guest with the same attitude you have when alone. Imagine that. No company manners. Or upon awakening, leave your bed behind you instantly, as if you had cast away a pair of old shoes. Just bam, up and moving.
No, hit snooze 10 times.
Right. And these rules, they aren't meant to be rigid dogma, like you must do this.
Yeah.
They're examples, illustrations of a life lived with continuous intentionality and presence, where every action, brushing your teeth, welcoming someone, getting out of bed, is done with full awareness. The implication is that any moment, however ordinary it seems, can be a path to mindfulness if you approach it that way.
And finally, Zen seems to offer this really profound perspective on life's biggest certainty: impermanence, death. It's presented not as something terrifying to be avoided at all costs, but as something to be accepted, as a natural, maybe even beautiful part of the whole picture.
That acceptance really comes through in that story about Sengai again, and the rich man. This wealthy patron asks Sengai for, a calligraphy scroll, something auspicious for the continued prosperity of his family for generations. So Sengai takes his brush and writes, "Father dies, son dies, grandson dies."
Huh. Not exactly what the rich guy was expecting, I bet. It sounds pretty grim.
Right. The patron was furious, thought Sengai was mocking him, playing a cruel joke. "This brings me no joy," he says. But Sengai calmly explains. He says, "Look, if your son died before you, wouldn't that cause you great grief? And if your grandson died before your son, wouldn't both of you be heartbroken? But if your family, generation after generation, passes away in the order I have written, that is the natural course of life. That," Sengai says, "is what I call real prosperity."
Wow, that reframes everything.
It completely challenges our usual view of success, happiness, prosperity, doesn't it? It suggests true peace, real prosperity, doesn't come from somehow avoiding loss or change, because you can't. It comes from embracing impermanence, accepting life's natural rhythm. Real well-being isn't the absence of loss, it's the acceptance of the flow. Key takeaways.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. If we distill down some core insights from diving into these Zen stories, what stands out first maybe is that Zen is really experiential, right? It's about direct understanding, that intuitive grasp, not just piling up knowledge in your head.
Absolutely, the empty cup. You have to experience it, not just read about it. Second, I'd say detachment is liberating. It sounds maybe cold, but it's about letting go of stuff, sure. But also ego, fixed ideas. It creates this incredible freedom, inner stability.
Yeah, that is that so idea. And third, maybe this call to embrace imperfection in the present moment. Enlightenment isn't some far-off perfect state. It's found right here, in the ordinary, in the challenges, even in the fact that things don't last. The strawberry.
Finding sweetness amidst the tigers. And fourth, teachers are catalysts. They don't just lecture. They use all sorts of methods, sometimes really surprising ones, to push students to provoke that insight, stepping on the master's head.
Right. And finally, maybe authenticity over formality. True Zen seems to be presented as this intrinsic state of being. It's not ultimately bound by rituals or titles or what other people think. It's something internal.
Well said. This deep dive into these Zen stories, it really offers this rich tapestry of wisdom, doesn't it? It kind of nudges us, gently or sometimes not so gently, to look beyond the obvious, to find maybe deeper meaning in just our everyday lives. Which leaves us with a question, maybe, how could you listening apply that empty cup mindset? Maybe to a new challenge coming up this week. Just approach it with a little more openness.
Or how can you find the sweetness of the strawberry even when life feels pressured? That moment of presence or joy, even when the tigers are around. Lots to think about. We really hope this deep dive has given you something to mull over, maybe sparked a slightly different way of seeing things. We're really grateful you joined us today on the deep dive.
Yeah, thank you. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning things, and try to keep an open mind.
Thank you for listening.